what have you done this week? Like, what have you gotten done this week?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's somebody who has, he's built like 4 or 5 of the biggest companies in the world. Like, he definitely understands sacrificing a thing for a thing. And I don't know why that stood out, but like, what have you gotten done this week? Mm-hmm. Like, we all kind of just think on this, like, oh yeah, like, I'll get it done. I'm supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can just do the minimum. I'll just kind of, whatever. And you really have to change your, like, it's like everything that's worth doing is going to take something out of you.
Absolutely.
And culturally, like, I'll sit here and I will, like, rail against, the hustle culture. And, like, I don't think that is necessarily but you like, what I'm not saying is that you should just expect anything. Like, I think everybody should almost just take this, like, I am entitled to nothing. What I was laughing at, and what I was kind of interrupted you, and I didn't mean to, but I was just going to say, like, it's funny that we had the value conversation last time.
Yeah.
And then this, because I think, like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, you're talking about your monologue and, like, oh, like, nobody came backstage. It's like, did you give anybody any value? Like, did they take anything out of that?
Yeah, exactly. No, because you put so little effort into crafting something special, and
thought into like finding something that somebody could.
That's right.
It was going to change the way somebody saw something, or
And I remember having a sort of test that I would give myself after taking a test. I'd come back and get like, oh, I got a C+ on this test, and I would say to myself, well, what would you grade your effort into preparing for this test? And I'm like, yeah, about a C+.
Yeah.
Now, every once in a while, there would be outliers. You just phone it in as far as prepping for a test or whatever, and you get an A or whatever. It just kind of works out. But even back in high school, I would do that. When I went to my first year of college, I basically flunked out. I had a breakup with a girlfriend. I was, moved away from home for the first time. My entire high school career was literally showing up, listening, taking notes, studying next to nothing, and getting like a B average in high school. Good enough for me. I have no goals in my life. I'm not trying to get into a big school. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my life. I kind of like computers. Maybe I'll do something with that.
Yeah.
And then, one of the first things I did that was not related to my relationships with girls, and that's kind of a little preview of something I'm going to talk about as far as effort goes in a moment. But I wanted to get in the high school play. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get cast as a lead. I wanted to be someone where I had never done a play, never performed acting like on a stage or whatever. Like, we made our home movies, and I was always a performer at the dinner table and all that, but I had never done anything like that.
Like formal.
So I asked my dad, I'm like, Dad, what Shakespeare monologue should I do? They're doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I want to get a part. So he, gave me this monologue from Henry V, which I still love to this day, the St. Crispin's Day speech. And dude, I worked my ass off to memorize that monologue, like to memorize it and to like not just mimic Kenneth Branagh's performance in Henry V, the movie that my dad showed me in conjunction with the monologue he thought I should do. I was constantly performing it. I had it, backwards and forwards. I still have almost the majority of it memorized to this day because of that. You can
probably get it back in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Whereas everything I did in college, memorized all these lines, all that, I barely remember any of them.
It made an impression on you, though.
Well, I just put so much work in that it's hardwired into my brain. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I'm not going to perform it for everybody right now, but maybe in a future episode.
Get 10 likes and
what's he that wishes so? Yeah, get into it. So then what happened? I got one of the leads in the play, and the drama teacher goes, "Why have you never auditioned for a play before?" And not like, "Oh, you've deprived us of your magic," but sort of like, I think unexpected. you know, my dad was in the English department. The theater director was as well. And sort of like, who's this kid out of nowhere, like belting out this Shakespeare monologue?
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer and summer.